everybody. I'm beyond pleased to welcome like one of the best member of the Instagram Italian guitar collection, if I can say, Nick Perri. Thanks, Nick, for being another guest of the Matt's Videocast. How are you doing, brother?
Thank you for having me, man. I'm grateful to be here. It's nice to speak with you. I'm doing well, all things considered. You know, it's been a crazy year, but I'm doing well. I'm grateful everybody's healthy and happy, and we're just trying to stay positive, you know, and put one foot in front of the other and move forward. And we're excited about, you know, a new year coming up and trying to stay positive.
Yeah, and I constantly see you sending us as listeners like positive vibes on Instagram. You're always doing something, you know, you're always playing, you're always showing us your guitars. So we're always pleased, you know, to feel at least not losing the connection with you guys as artists, because we miss you as much that you probably miss us as a crowd. But so thank you very much for like sharing your studio. Because I was telling you off camera, like it's one of the best room I've ever seen. Like it's so chill and relaxing, and with the cactus.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, this is like my little, you know, safe, creative space. I'm grateful to have it. And, you know, as far as the connection thing, I think that's so important. You know, what else is there in life if it's not meaningful connections between people? And, you know, the internet, you could say a lot of good things and a lot of bad things about it. But one really good thing is that it connects people.
Yeah.
Like you and I, who would never know each other if not for the internet, you know? So,
right. And I thank you, our common friend, Jimmy Neko, for like, he kind of connected us, because one of his biggest fans told me, you know, you got to check Nick Perri's music. It's insane. And, you know, you got to check all the project he's doing. So I you know, I dedicate that episode of the show to Jimmy, and he's one of your best friend, and he's singing on the album, right?
Yeah, Jimmy Neko is he's a living legend, as I like to say. And it's true. He's a phenomenal talent, and he's over the years become a very close friend who I love and cherish very much. And I asked him if he would sing some background vocals on the album. So there's one song on the album called Fall, where he's singing really beautifully. It was such a pleasure to have him, and he's just a good friend. You know, it's really something I really value, is my connection and my relationship with my peers, you know, other musicians. You know, I have a small circle, and when I'm working on music, there's not many people I would show something to that's not finished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you show something to the world, you want it to be done. But there's usually a handful of people, you know, in like a musician's life, where you can show something really raw, and, you know, they'll give you honest feedback, or they can hear through a demo or something like that and hear about the possibility of what it could be. And so Jimmy's one of the few people in my life that, you know, I'll send something to, and he sends me stuff, and, you know, we're really honest with each other.
Yeah.
You know, because there's, you know, if you really want someone just to tell you how great you are, just go ask your mom. She'll always say how great you are, you know. But if you want the truth, you know, you got to have people in your life who tell you the truth. So he's one of those people for me. So yeah, what a sweet guy.
Yeah, I was beyond pleased, you know. And by the way, I think that's a good question for you. Like, I just admire sometimes the composition, if I can say, the composition times, as you guys are having as musicians, you know. And Jimmy was telling me that he's having constantly hundreds of songs that, you know, are ready or not ready. So what do you do to, like, for example, for the new album, what did you do to compose that? How did you get your idea? Is that something you get instantly, an idea that you want to transform into a song, or is that something you're working on like for a few weeks to have the full thing, you know, ready?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the answer is a little bit of everything. You know, in my experience, there's no one way that it happens. The thing I've learned over time is that you really have to be open. You have to have like an open mind and an open spirit to receive these ideas, because we don't know when they're going to come or from where. I mean, where does real inspiration come from? I don't know that anybody can define it. It happens if you're open to receiving it. So the the work in the craft in that is being and making yourself open to receiving it as often as possible.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, last night I was down here 1 o'clock in the morning. I was tired. I'd been doing stuff all day, but I just had this one little thought in my mind, and it was 50-50. I was either going to go to bed or pick up my acoustic guitar. And I'm so glad I decided to pick up the guitar, because I got a new song last night.
Wow.
You know, and I ended up staying up really late and working on this song. And, you know, there's a chance I was going to wake up today and hate it, but I didn't. I woke up and I loved it. And I was so glad that I put the time in to explore that idea. So I think as songwriters, we're always chasing these little moments, these little ideas, and we're compiling them. And at least for my record, for this, you know, I don't know for how many people out there know, but I've been doing this a long time. I've been in the music business for almost 20 years. Since I was a teenager, I got signed very young. I've been in a lot of bands, but this album now, this is my debut album as an artist. You know, that I'm singing, I'm the front man. It's my baby now, you know? So I was very excited to do this, but I wanted it to be done right. So I'd spent a long time making the album. It was 2.5 years. And we wrote a lot of songs. So there was 30, 35, maybe even 40 songs that were kind of in this pot. And over the course of that time, you know, we started recording them. We recorded versions of all of them. And then we had to make a decision of which were the ones that we were going to kind of push to the front and finish all the way. So we do have a number of songs already written and somewhat in, you know, recorded format that would be maybe perhaps for album 2, album 3. And I'm always writing. Like last night, I wrote a new song last night. So it's like, you know, you keep writing and you want to keep putting the best ideas at the top, and then other things get bumped down, you know. Yeah. But it's really an ongoing process. I can't imagine that it really ever ends. It just keeps continuing. But I will say, you know, when we put this album out over the summer, it did feel like a huge weight came off my shoulders, and I got something into the universe, you know? Yeah. So I could free up some space to then do something new. You know what I mean?
That's funny, because, you know, it's like I'm doing few episodes and I love talking about you guys, because it's a complete, you know, whole thing to compose a song. You can be a very good guitar player, but you can be as well at the same time like a shitty songwriter, if I can say. It's not because you're good at it at playing that ideas are going to come from, you know, to make a good composition. So I'm always impressed. But the common point of all the songwriter I know is that you got something. Once you got the idea, you got something to express, and if you can't express it by a song, it's like it's still inside you, and it's like you guys seem to just don't feel great if you didn't express that feeling by a song.
Well, you know what it is? It's almost, and I was talking to someone about this last night, actually, it's almost like therapy in a way, because you have to like you have to get it out and release it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so if you're feeling a certain feeling, especially if it's not a good feeling, it's very therapeutic to get it out. And you usually feel better. Feel better when it's out.
And then are you composing about moments of your life you're living, or just a scene you're sometime imagining? Or because the way you're talking about it as a therapeutic thing, you know, it would be like maybe you have to express something you just lived and then share it with the world and with the audience. And sometimes it's even more, you know, honest to do songs like that, because once you play them, even in the years coming on stage, you will exactly feel that same moment of your life once you're going to play them. So
yeah, that's a beautiful thought and a great question. The truth is, again, it's a little bit of everything. I know people who sit down and they like telling stories. It maybe not is about them. They just want to tell a story. And that's really cool too. Then there's other people who write exclusively about events that happened in their life. And then there's people who write, you know, a little bit of everything. And I think for me, it's a little bit of everything, but most of it is personal, I would say, is personal. And if it's not about an event, it's about a feeling. because I think that's the big thing. And like when I put on my favorite records, and I think about this as a producer as well, because I produced and recorded the album. So I'm not only writing, I'm producing, I'm trying to capture a feeling.
Yeah.
Because when I put on my favorite records, more so than any one lyric or one chord progression or one thing, the main takeaway for me is what is the feeling that it gives me. You know, when you put on Dark Side of the Moon, it's like you could take a bath in this feeling.
Yeah.
It's so thick, and I just want to live inside there. You know what I mean? And so like, I'm very conscious of like, what is the overall feeling? And of course, then we zone in and we want the sound of the snare drum to be perfect. We want the sound of everything to be right. And we want every word to mean something or help tell the story. But I'm also so that's like zooming in, like with a macro lens, zooming in. But you also, which is hard. It's taken me a whole lifetime to be able to do this. You also have to, at the same moment, be able to zoom wide angle out and look at the whole thing and go, am I getting the whole picture right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the push and the pull of making and recording and making music. You know, I think of it as making music. I don't necessarily think about myself, I'm a guitar player or I'm a this, I'm a that. I make music and I'm involved in every part of that process, you know, which is a lot. It's a lot of work. It's at times daunting, but it's inspiring. And when you're really feeling it, there's nothing else in the world like it, you know, because you're creating something.
And it's amazing. And then people are, I'm pretty sure my follower who you know, they probably know you already, but for those who don't, you know, even you know, had the chance to listen to your music yet, and to hear you in the several projects you were doing, because we were talking that I was asking you off camera, when are you going to come back to Europe? And you said, well, you know, I was there like 2 years ago, or 2017, with another project I was doing, whatever. So for people who didn't have the chance to know you yet, do you have like an artist who pushed the button in your brain, if I can say, to when you listen to a certain song or a certain guitar riff, you said like, wow, I want to pick up a guitar and I want to be like a musician? Do you remember like that moment, or a special moment when somebody came through and you said, okay, that's my life?
Yes, I remember that moment.
Yeah.
I was 11, probably 11 or 12. It would have had to have been 12 at the latest, because I started playing guitar when I was 12. And it was my aunt had come over to my house. I grew up in a very conservative household. There was not rock and roll. My father's from Italy, so we had like the three tenors, and we had lots of Italian opera on at home. And my mom, very conservative. You know, she liked music in the 70s, but it was more like James Taylor and who I love now, but it was more acoustic folk, you know, rock and roll, like, it just wasn't in my life until my aunt, I guess she thought I was old enough, or I don't know what, but she came over, she brought on cassette tape. She brought over a Pearl Jam 10. It was the first Pearl Jam album.
Of course, yeah.
And AC/DC Highway to Hell.
Wow.
And
same
it was like, because I never imagined that a guitar could sound that way. That's the thing, is like I never made the connection of like, oh, that's what it can do.
Yeah, that's,
you know?
Yeah.
So when I discovered that thing, I was like, that from that moment, 12 years old, that moment to this moment right now talking to you, that has been my lifelong obsession since that moment, to make music, because of that. And of course, over the years, I've had multiple experiences hearing Jimi Hendrix for the first time, and hearing Cream, Eric Clapton, and Pink Floyd, and the Eagles, and all the music that I love. And it's still happening. You know, there's modern bands that I hear. Marcus King, I love.
Yeah.
There's an awesome band called The War on Drugs, probably my favorite band in the world right now. And so I still have those moments where I hear things and my mind you know, gets exploded. You know, the new War on Drugs live album, it's a live album and it sounds so good. It sounds better than I think 99% of other artists' studio albums. And it's like, God damn it, how did they get it to sound that good? I've been obsessed. You know, it's like I get obsessed because, and that's what inspires us. It pushes us to move forward and to work harder. You know, I want to be making music, you know, that inspires me like that. You know, so it's a lifelong thing, man. I don't see any end to it.
Yeah, and by the way, you know, because we're talking about artists we both love. I was as well, you know, launched by Angus Young playing guitar. But considering, and I want to talk about your album that people can already listen to, I guess, on every platforms and every streaming platform, and they can buy it through your website, I think, or your Instagram. They will always find a way to. I think your Instagram is one of the. You are one of the best guys marketing your Instagram, in my opinion. And
Thanks, man.
And so I think, what's the best way for, you know, my follower to get your music today?
Well, if I mean, absolutely, thank you, and absolutely, it's available on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Google, Amazon, all that stuff. So the full album is called Sun Via, and it is on all the streaming services. We also have in the merch store, I have a copy right here. This is it on vinyl. So for people out there who love vinyl, it's on vinyl, it's on CD, and my website has that at nickperrimusic.com. For people who don't know, Perri is with an I, Perri.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, Instagram is a really good gateway, you know, to getting to know my universe. So people could check it out on Instagram. But you know, it's one of these things where I consider this moment, you know, we're talking about the journey and the 20-year, been doing this a long time, but it's because I started so young. You know, I view that this now is the beginning of the next 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't my first album, but this is my first album. Do you know what I mean?
Awesome.
This is my baby. So it's like, I'm thinking about album 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm viewing now, this is now the starting point of hopefully what will be the next 20, 30 years, you know?
Yeah,
so I'm excited. I'm excited.
And I can't wait. I mean, we are doing, and I would love you guys to do this as well. We're doing, like, in the shop, we're doing what we call the Matt's Guitar Sessions. And when you guys when we will have the chance to have you guys coming back in Europe, you know, we're doing like acoustic sessions, but mixed with electric guitar sometimes. And I just would love you guys to be like.
I would love to do it. I would love to do it.
Showroom, like playing acoustics. And the thing is that you have to bring nothing. You just pick the guitars we do have. Like, okay, this is the one that talks to me, and then you guys and people can have the chance to see you in like a private atmosphere. But I just can't wait as well to see you guys coming back and play a show in France. And well, do you have a live show relation with France? Have you for people who maybe some people already saw you here? Did you play recently? I mean, you were talking about 17 last time you were in Europe, but did you play in France before?
I haven't been to France in a long time, not since my first. So my first band was called Silvertide.
Yeah.
And we did a bunch of stuff in Spain, France, in the UK, various parts of Great Britain. But that was a long time ago. I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And then I came back at various other times with other artists, with other bands. My last band was called Mount Holly. We did a lot of stuff in the UK, but we never made it to France. Okay. So it's been so long.
We have to make this happen.
And we're going to make it happen. There's no doubt. So hopefully we're supposed to come over in 2020, which, you know, that didn't work out. But I'm hoping that next year, you know,
we'll have the chance
things are better
to see you over.
Yeah. Well, I would love to. I'll definitely come hang out. You're going to have to tell me like to go home now.
Yeah.
You've been here too long, Nick.
That's
drank all our coffee.
We just love to share. The shop is about sharing guitars, you know. So, you know, we consider like as I was telling you off camera, we consider them like we have to carry the torch, you know, and make them played on stage, we consider. So
well, that's why I think it's so cool what you're doing. It's so important, as we were talking about as well. Like these guitars, I mean, they are works of art.
yeah,
They are these timeless, priceless artifacts, but they are also, most importantly, instruments that, to be functioning,
yeah,
they need to actually be played. So I think it's so cool what you're doing, and you know, some other friends of mine who are preserving them, yes, taking good care of them, yes, but also making sure that they're played and enjoyed and shared with people, because they all have a story to tell, and they all have a unique sound. And when you see someone on stage with a certain guitar, it excites people. I still get excited. You know, I get excited. I was watching a live stream the other night. My friend Charlie Starr, who's the singer of Blackberry Smoke,
yeah, good friend of
and
us. Yeah,
he has a beautiful collection. And even though he was on stage, I was texting him. I know his phone was backstage, but I was like, "Oh, dude, that guitar sounded awesome, and you got to tell me the story with this one." And you know what I mean? Because
like Junior and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, they all have such a unique. Well, he had a couple really cool Telecasters. I think an Esquire, looked like an early '60s Esquire as well. Anyway, his tone is monstrous, but it's just so exciting, you know, because they all have a unique voice, and he always sounds like him. But it's interesting to hear them through different lenses and through what these guitars can do and sound like.
Because they have their own personality as well, you know, and I just love as well to hear the guitar's personality. We have a 59 here in the shop called Spot that we have.
That's an incredible guitar.
Yeah, that's amazing. The last one who played it on stage is our buddy Marcus King, and you know, Marcus sounds like Marcus, but it's those guitars have such an incredible and huge personality that it's great to hear the matching of the artist and the guitar finally, and that's what excites us at the shop. But you know, and for the guitar geeks out there, you know, we see some guitars behind you. Can you show us maybe one or two of them, or like,
sure,
like just pick your two favorite one.
Well, this one is a special guitar to me because I've had it the longest.
That has played.
this is her name is Bella.
Okay. Hey, Bella.
And Bella has been with me for a long time.
Wow.
Has been around the world, you know, probably 20 times. And she's not super old. This is only about 20 years old, but it was this was a 2002 custom shop 57. But I've just had it a long time. I've used it on every record I've ever made, and I actually had the honor of performing with Les Paul, the man, a couple times. That he was kind enough to sign the guitar for me.
Wow, that's super cool.
And it's just a great guitar, and it has this, because it's all mahogany. It does not have a maple cap. It's solid mahogany, so it has a very interesting mid-range. It's very vocal, so it's such a great recording guitar because the way it sits in the mix is kind of perfect. It doesn't have too much lows, doesn't have too many highs. It's exactly where you want the guitar to be in the mix. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I've never seen, except for Slash's, you know, AFD that Gibson made, the prototypes, who is completely destroyed. It's like almost a fossil, you know, in the back. But I've never seen a recent guitar, you know, a Gibson recent guitar, like having that much wear in the back. That's super.
Well, it's real. It's authentic.
Wow.
When I got this guitar, there was no scratches on it. This is I probably played, I would say, like over 2,000 shows on this guitar.
Wow, that's amazing.
So this is the real deal. That's the real deal.
That's the favorite one of your followers, the fans who are following your music over the years. Do you think they have this guitar in mind?
I think it's one of them. I think there's a couple other ones that I think people really love as well. The SG, everybody loves the SG.
Yeah, that's such a, what's the story with that one? I always see it on Instagram. It's like, is that a whole Bixby, right?
Yeah, this is an old Bigsby. Well, recently I just modified it. I just took the arm off.
Yeah, I saw
that. Know, I put a little Jimi Hendrix bottle cap on there. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, what's interesting, because we were just talking about different guitars and they all have their own voice. Another thought that has occurred to me recently is how each guitar inspires, it pulls something different out of us. So if I was to sit here with a Firebird, I might start playing a certain thing. If I was to hold the Tele or a Strat or an SG or a Flying V, they would all pull something a little bit different out of us, because we have this weird connection with, you know, seemingly they're just pieces of wood, but they all have a different vibe, and they pull something different from us. So it's very interesting to me, and I've become aware of it, how like if I pick up my Les Paul, I play a certain way.
Yeah.
When I play my Firebird, I play a certain way.
It's driving you a certain way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's very interesting to me. So I've now become aware of this. So,
and you were mentioning Cream, you know, earlier in the show, but you were mentioning Cream, and I think one of the most iconic driving force of, if we can say, for like the guitar playing was Eric Clapton in Cream, because he was playing very differently, in my opinion, with the Firebird at the end for the Farewell Tour, and with the SG and with the ES335. So yeah, it inspired him in certain ways and much different ways.
Absolutely. And it's funny, I have a secret desire. I am only one guitar away from having one of every guitar that Clapton had in Cream. That's my goal, is to have one of every model that's similar to his. But yeah, I'm such a huge Clapton freak. Cream specifically, you know, it absolutely changed my world when I really got it. You know, it got a hold of me. And it's interesting, because the older I get, the less I'm concerned about playing fast and wanting it to be fancy. The older I get, I just want to make it more vocal and make it like a voice and make it want to speak and talk and have a conversation. My favorite guitar playing, and you know, it's deceptively simple. When you listen to Eric and Cream and you live those live Cream albums, it doesn't sound like he's not playing a million notes like, you know, somebody who's shredding. It sounds simple, but it's the hardest thing in the world is to be able to play simple vocally like that with the vibrato, and to really harness the emotion, the emotive qualities of like the soul. Hendrix was wonderful at it. Of course, there's a lot of other great examples, but Clapton for me like really nails that, where it sounds simple, but if you were to go back and try to learn the live version of Politician or something, it's hard, because it's all about the feeling, man.
Yeah,
it's very special to him. You know, nobody plays like that, you know, and then you have to realize that nobody plays like each other. You can try to get close, but you always sound like you. So I stopped trying to sound like people. I just want to sound like me. I just want to sound like the best version of me, you know, but I'm still inspired by certain things. And like when I hear him play, I go like, man, he's only playing 4 or 5 notes, but they say more to me than 500.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I completely agree. You know, and I'm personally more into like the blues music and those. And for me, the perfect example, and one of my challenges to make sure the young generation that are coming don't forget those old bluesmen, you know, and especially ones that touches my heart, which is called T-Bone Walker, you know. And for me,
T-Bone Walker's amazing.
Yeah, for me, he started the whole thing, you know, and some
wasn't he's the first one to like bend strings, right? Everybody was playing linear, but he was the first one to start bending.
Yeah, and he invented like the Chuck Berry thing, like you know, that double stop, you know, thing, and people, a lot of people are forgetting about him, and you know, John Lee Hooker and Albert King, and you know, those guys, and they don't understand sometimes, and that's what we want to do with the shop as well, to carry the torch, you know, to make younger people understand that finally, you know, Eddie Van Halen and Motley Crue were listening to Jimmy Page and Clapton and Hendrix, but those guys were listening to T-Bone Walker. Finally,
there would be no Eric Clapton without Freddie King. You know, you can trace all these guys all the way back to the beginning, you know, and they
genealogy, you know, and it's like we today have a part of our DNA from those guys back to the late 40s, you know, even Charlie Christian and those guys. But and talking about, you know, your guitars, and when are we going to next time to have a chance and an opportunity to see you guys performing on stage? We're talking about like a live stream show you're going to do like on December 11th, I think.
Yes, Friday night, December 11th, we're doing one more show of the year. It's a live stream, and it's actually for the first time. I've never done something like this before, but it's unplugged.
Wow.
It's semi-unplugged. I'm playing acoustic. My bass player is on electric bass, and there's a drum kit, but with brushes. But it's a unplugged, you know, show, and it was filmed. So
can we subscribe to the show? Is that possible still with nickperri.com or Instagram or?
Yeah. In fact, there's you can go to Instagram. My Instagram has a link in my bio, and if you hit that, the very first thing is tickets to the show.
I'm going to put in the video mix like the link here, so people can.
Oh, cool! That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, or nickperrimusic.com. They can get it from the website too. But we think it's going to be fun. There's 2 show times, one for people in Europe, and so it's earlier, which would be evening time, your time.
Oh, great.
And then there's a late show for evening time in North America.
Okay, right. 2 shows in a row, finally.
Pardon me?
So 2 shows in a row, a bit.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing on your Instagrams like a hummingbird recently. Is that the one I'm seeing behind you? And is that the one you're going to play there?
Yes.
That's great.
This is a fun guitar. So this is you know, I have this weird desire to customize all my stuff. I don't know why. I just like unique things. So I ended up putting the palm trees because when I saw this finish, it reminded me of a sunset. You know,
right?
And I actually married a woman from California, so I spent a lot of time in California. I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm back in Philadelphia now. The whole band is from Philadelphia, but I spent years in California, the Southern California desert, Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree, you know, obviously Los Angeles, Orange County. And it's a big part of you can tell by the cactus. It's a big influence for me. So the palm trees and cactuses and all that stuff. So, but here's something super cool. We're going to give away at the live stream to somebody who has a ticket to the show. We're going to give this guitar away.
Wow.
This is an Epiphone hummingbird that Gibson was very kind to donate to, and I put the palm trees on it.
Wow.
So it looks like mine, and we're going to give this away for free to somebody who has a ticket to the show.
That's the little sister of the one we just saw. Yeah.
It's the little sister, yeah, but it sounds great, and you know, we thought it would be something nice. To put a guitar in somebody's hands. So.
And you know, it's like you know, you just buy a show ticket and finally you can get a guitar.
Yeah,
that's a good deal.
It's a good thing, man. We're just trying to spread some good vibes. You know, it's been a tough year for people, and I'm grateful that you mentioned it and that you feel it, because I've really tried with my presence online to try to put good vibes out there, you know, because things are heavy in the world. And I don't know what it's like on TV or the radio in France, but in America, it's very heavy. Every time you turn on the news, it's very heavy, you know. It's so I try to break up some of that heaviness with something that makes somebody smile. You know, music can be heavy and very emotional and all that stuff, but it can also be fun. So I always like to remind people, you know, have fun, you know.
And I'm pretty sure that you take a profit of 2020 to even write some. We were talking about a new song from last night, but I'm pretty sure you got a full, you know. I'm pretty sure album 2 and 3 can be already recorded this way.
I think you're right.
But well, you know, I'm just going to thank you one more time, because I enjoyed a lot this time talking about guitars, in your influences. You know, I'm a huge fan of Eric Clapton as well, so I think we will finish that conversation over here. But that's you know, and if I want to make you jealous, I played the 335, is 335, yeah, the one he was playing in Cream. That's such a nice story. It's like it was in Guitar Center in New York City, in Times Square, and we work with Guitar Center, especially back then, and you know, they were kind enough to open the Times Square store. I think it was like 48th Street, whatever, or 46th.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were kind enough to open the store 1 hour before the official, you know, open hour, to let us play like Blackie and the ES335 you used to play there. And because in my opinion, the best song Clapton had, and I think there is a live show he played in Hyde Park in the late 90s, and he's playing a blues with that.
I know it. I know that whole show. I know the whole show. I agree with you. That's the best tone and best playing I think that he had since Cream.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And that's with that special guitar, you know, and basically my lifetime dream in ES guitar would be this, you know, if I win the lottery. I would go straight to Guitar Center and say, whatever the price is, give me the guitar and don't talk to me. Well,
that's amazing.
That's
it's so cool that you mentioned that, because I've watched that performance on YouTube like 50 times. I actually bought the DVD as well because I wanted to see the other songs that are not on YouTube. So I have it on DVD too, and I absolutely love it because he does a couple Freddie King songs back to back. Yeah. And when he puts on again, going back to our conversation, because he played different guitars through that set, but when he put on
this one, yeah,
the 335, the Gibson, he played differently.
Yeah.
Than he plays the Stratocasters. Of course, he's great no matter what, but he plays differently. I think anybody would play differently if you hand them a 335 versus a Strat. You know what I mean? And for my preference, from his playing, I always have loved the Gibson stuff. Yeah. The tone, it's thick, and he plays a little more ferociously. Yeah. I think you know what I mean? And he was really digging in.
It's like the 100% Clapton is there, you know, when he plays the Gibson. That's it. You know, we are going to have haters coming in the show, so that's okay. You know, Nick, I can't thank you enough. Again, I put the album here in the video mix, and I just can't wait to you know, to argue in real without having the pandemic stuff, etc. And we'll have a Matt's guitar session when you guys will finally the show in the 11th is just a training to have a good Matt's guitar session here.
Absolutely, man, it absolutely will happen. I will be there. I will give you a hug in real life. We will play guitars. We will hang out. And it was a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
I wish you a good day over there. Enjoy the cactus and enjoy the guitars. And I wish the future contest winner with that Happy Fun guitar. Are you going to play that a bit in the show, or just signing it and give it away to the lucky winner?
Yeah, no, I'm playing the Gibson in throughout the whole show, and then whoever wins this guitar, I'll sign it if they want me to. But if not, then I'll just leave it the way it is. I'll put it in a box and send it to them, you know. But
you know, I mean, I hope I just love to finish on a positive vibe like that. So thank you again for doing this. I invite everybody to, you know, to subscribe to your Instagram, to your YouTube channel, whatever where they can find you, and you know, and if they want, you know, they can subscribe to us too. so
absolutely.
Thank you, and I invite everybody to see the show on the 11th. nickperri.com and Instagram. That's it. Thank you very much, buddy, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You will.
Thank you. I wish you a great day.
You do the same.
Bye-bye.